Respectable chair, distinguished guests, and esteemed colleagues, for giving me this opportunity today to speak on this critical topic. I want to speak, I will start with the Ordinance 20. Ordinance 20, a law enacted in 1984 by the Pakistani government that targets the very existence of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. This law is not merely a form of cultural or religious separation. It is a direct attack on the fundamental freedoms of an entire group of people. Ahmadis are subject to arrest and imprisonment for practicing that any other Muslim or the religious groups can freely engage in. Criminal sanctions are applied for the simple act of identifying as a Muslim. And these laws create an environment of fear where acts of violence and discriminations go unchecked, often leading to impunity as the perpetrators. Social and cultural exclusion. Beyond violences, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community suffers from the systematic stripping of their social and cultural rights. Ahmadis are often excluded from basic public services and education. They are barred from participating in elections, denied the ability to vote, and excluded from public office. Like my colleague mentioned, in schools, children are taught against Ahmadis that they are liars and they should be punished and even killed, like they killed my father. But there were students who killed my father, students from the school. And how come this teaching came to those students to kill those who don't believe in your belief what you are saying? So, call on action. Now, I stand before you with a call on action. First, the international community must press Pakistan and the state-sponsored persecution of Ahmadis, particularly by repealing Ordinance 20. And removing discriminatory laws. We must call on Pakistan to respect its obligations under international human rights law, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees the right of freedom of thought, conscience, and the religion. Second, we must offer support to Ahmadiyya community in their fight for equality and dignity. This support must extend beyond words of condemnation. It must include concrete actions that will protect them from violence and ensure that their voices are heard. Finally, the global community must provide protection of Ahmadi refugees. These individuals forced to flee violence and persecution must be recognized as vulnerable and provided with the protection they need to rebuild their lives. Conclusion. The silent surrounding of persecution of Ahmadis in Pakistan must end. This world cannot continue to ignore their suffering, and we cannot allow them to remain invisible any longer. The time for action is now. We are at the crossroads. We can continue to turn a blind eye, or we can take a stand for justice, human dignity, and freedom. I urge you all, as a representative of international community, to stand with the Ahmadiyya community and ensure that their right to live freely, practice their faith, and exist without fear in government. Lastly, I stand before you also a witness of the persecution like I mentioned before. My late father, he was a doctor serving humanity in Pakistan. And he was brutally killed because of what? He was serving humanity, giving the medication freely to the people of the area. This persecution of Ahmadi Muslim is a clear and present danger. And lastly, I give one recommendation. In particularly repeal all anti-blasphemy laws and ensure that the state's domestic laws, policies, and practices comply with the international human rights conventions, in particular Articles 2, 18, 19, and 26 of the ICCPR. Ensure accountability and prosecute all those responsible for the violations, attack Ahmadis and other minorities, and design and implement human rights awareness, raising and training programs for all relevant state institutions and public officials with the active participation of Ahmadiyya communities as well as the other religious leaders representing different faiths. I thank you very much.